Sagrada Artisans is my favorite way to play Sagrada, but it's not my favorite legacy game. In this review, I'm going to be showing you the outside of the box, which may contain minor spoilers, but I'm not going to show you anything inside the box. If you think the back of the box might be too much of a spoiler for you, it really isn't. It's the beginning of the journey. It's like saying The Lord of the Rings is about a hobbit that goes for a walk. I mean, it is, but there's more to it, and then things get complicated. So on the back of the box, it says it's based on Sagrada, which is a great way to explain it because it's not exactly Sagrada. Sagrada Artisans is a different game. But if you're good at Sagrada, you might be good at Sagrada Artisans. On the back of the box, it shows one of my favorite changes, and that's this board. In regular Sagrada, you're pulling from a bag of dice. Oh, looks like I got a handful of blue dice. I guess I'm stuck with it because that's Sagrada and that happens sometimes. But that's not life in Sagrada Artisans. After rolling dice, you place them on the board. If there's any duplicates, you re-roll those. So you're always going to have a choice of different numbers and different colors, because there's a very limited amount of dice in this box. All the dice are actually shown on the back here. That means depending on your player count, most colors will be available each round, but there's no guarantee on the value of dice that will be here. But the colors are something you can count on, and that dependability in Sagrada Artisans makes this game comfortable, at least for a little while. Sagrada Artisans does a great job of teaching you how to play the game, but it doesn't hold your hand for very long. There's a limited amount of games you can play of this, just like with any legacy game. And when the gameplay changes and shifts in the game, you have to adapt quickly. And that means making plans, but that can be problematic. The box says 45 to 60 minutes? What? No way. I fancy myself a faster player with occasional bouts of AP.
3 red and...
But for the most part, I know what I want to do. In this game, just like in the regular Sagrada, people can take the dice that you want, and that slows down the game. You have to rewire everything and replan everything. But I played this game with 4 players, and I think our shortest game was about an hour and a half. Our longest game was over 3 hours. So the play time for us is likely 45 to 60 minutes per player. I could see this being faster with 2 players though. So the board is good, but the play time, not so good. In fact, this game takes place in 12 rounds, which is on the back of the box, whereas Sagrada only takes 10. In Sagrada, you take a die and place it. In Sagrada Artisans, you take a die, then you have to write the number, then you have to color it in. There's a few extra steps. In Sagrada Artisans, everyone has a notebook, and on the left, there are public objectives and there are tools that are used in the round. All players have the same ones. This is what guides the game, and if you don't follow these objectives, you don't get points. And this can lead to further AP, which is not a bad thing, but it's just a thing you have to deal with. Each game has you doubting yourself from the start unless you take a moment to plan out all of your moves. And that slows down the game because every player is working it out. You can just jump in and get lucky, but the players who do it the best do the best planning. Each game has you doubting yourself unless you plan each of your moves, and that can take a while if everyone's sitting around planning everything. You can jump in and just get lucky, but often you'll just find yourself in the dark, wondering if all of this will work out. My paper's covered in notes, which I'm not going to show you here because I'm keeping it light spoilers. It's practically no spoilers, really. But some players took their phone, took a picture of the board, and made all their plans on that. Some players traced on paper what they were going to do with a duplicate copy of the board. And I just scribbled all of my notes on the actual paper, like in corners and crevices, wherever I could find a place to put down some notes. But all that is to say that planning is essential in Sagrada Artisans. Missing any objective points, even just a point or 2, can be the difference between first place and last place. And from a review perspective, I think that's a good thing. You get some brain burn for the people who like brain burn, but it's not too heavy. Let's talk about things found in a lot of legacy games, while of course keeping it all spoiler free. First up, catch-up mechanisms. If I were telling you about this before I played the last game, I would say the catch-up mechanisms are not bad. Overall, the points in the campaign scale, and there are ways to progress that aren't necessarily winning. I think you could win this game without winning a single game of it. And I'm not sure if that's a good thing. Sagrada can make you feel bad for winning. The winner doesn't get much, and the losers get a ton of advantages. It comes down to luck when it comes to getting advantages at the right time. There's a pattern to the advantages, so I guess you can throw the game at the right moment to try to get those right advantages, but there's no knowing whether those advantages will be super advantageous to you in the next game until you discover it is, and it's breaking the game and no one else has a shot at winning it. This happens a few times in Sagrada Artisans. I feel like there are a few key moments where if you strategize in losing the game at a certain time, you can set yourself up for several wins in the future. We had a discussion about this at the conclusion of our campaign. I played with the folks from Table Talk. You could find a link to their page in the description below. But I think we agreed on some points about that. Of course, to strategize that on your first playthrough, probably not likely. But on future playthroughs, if you were to go through Sagrada Artisans again, I think there is a winning strategy to losing. But when we were playing through for the first time, we weren't really thinking about that. We were just trying to do our best. We were just trying to have a good time. And some of us were trying to color. If you're a fan of coloring books, this is a game for you because every page has been left intentionally blank, void of color, waiting for you to color it during the game, which might push it to over 3 hours. Here's a quick shot of Melissa's coloring book with parts censored, of course. You can guess how well she did. I said you can guess, but you might be right, or you might be wrong. Our full playthrough of the campaign will be posted here soon, so make sure you subscribe. Also, a strategy guide is going up. It might be here already, depending on when you watch this. So let's talk about surprises in Sagrada Artisans. In Sagrada Artisans, I enjoyed most of the surprises. There are a few surprises in the box that required an internet connection. I didn't enjoy those quite as much. But for what it was, I liked the surprises. I can't go into many details, but I can say they didn't really affect us, thankfully. So the game is good. The surprises are good. The catch-up mechanisms are so-so, but was it worth the price? I didn't pick up this game on Kickstarter, but it was on Kickstarter for $75 plus shipping, so that's around $90. And backing it for that will get you some stickers and also a pencil sharpener and some pencils. I just don't think that's worth the $90 because you can get this game right now for 45 bucks. I really enjoyed my time with Sagrada Artisans, way more than I thought I would. Some players were having dreams about it, and other players were just enjoying coloring the book. But I enjoyed the brain burn, I enjoyed the surprises, and I really enjoyed the new, fresh take on Sagrada. So for this, on BGG, I'm giving it a 8.7, which earns it a golden heart from iHeart Board Games. Ronald reviewed his top 10 games, which you can find in the description. I have a few more Legacy games to play, including Ticket to Ride and My Island, so I'll be making my top 10 soon, so make sure you subscribe for that. But until next time, the box is closed.